Hi, I'm Dan with Pay Down Debt Solutions. Welcome to our channel. Today we're going to look at a student we helped, I think it was about a week ago in our last workshop. And this person wasn't doing too bad. Total income, $4,756. Total expenses, $4,572. $184 positive cash flow. So now some of you may be thinking, hey, that $184 positive cash flow, why don't they just chunk that down on, not chunk, but add that to their monthly payment? And let's look at, their biggest one, the $12,448 balance. Well, they just add the $184 to that and pay it down faster. Why do velocity banking? Why contact us? Why go through all the trouble? Well, when you add that $184 to this, making it $463, right? And you guys can do this yourselves at home, but you plug that into a credit card calculator and you'll see it'll take 35 months and $3,609 in interest just for that one card, just if you add that 184. So positive income is good. You'll feel tight, but at least you know you're covering your bills every month with a little bit of spending money, but it doesn't get you out of debt. I don't know if Jen says it in all our videos. We always talk about it, and I talk about it anytime I have any students. It's not your total debt. That's what you'll see. I don't know if Jen's done it, but I stopped adding these up. I stopped putting that total down here for your total debt, because your total debt's not what makes you feel poor. It might stress you out a little bit, be like, wow, it's a crazy big number. Gosh, I know how I did it, but like, how did I do it? Unbelievable. That's not it. It's these payments that make you feel broke. It's having no money to spend or to do something you enjoy on a weekly basis, bi-weekly, monthly, however often you're paid. That's what makes you feel tight. That's what gives you all the stress. So adding that 184, yeah, you're doing something. You're doing more. You're putting every available to get yourself out of debt, but you're not maximizing your interest savings and the time savings to get out of debt. So let's look at the example. Well, this is the example, but let's look at this person's situation we went through. So now you can see they had two NFCU credit cards, both 18%. And this, right off the bat, the first question this person has is, how do you decide which ones to pay? Not just pull something out of the sky, but me. How do I pick it for people when I got to do it? And this is exactly how you're going to look at it as well. So if you have zero cash flow, you've got to go after your biggest payment. Well, coincidentally, this one, all the biggest business, it's all going to work out. It's going to keep zeroing on this one, but that's not how it always is. This is just how it was for this person. That's that $279. Because the bigger chunk gives you more available balance, available income monthly to pay down your debt. So now here you see it, well, $184 positive cash flow, but velocity banking, we use available income. When you have a credit card as a debt destroyer, and these are all credit cards, so this person's debt destroyer will be one of these cards. So your available income equals your total income minus your non-chargeable expenses, i.e. your cash. How much cash do you have to have every month to pay the bills that can only be paid by cash, cash or check, right? You can't pay them with a credit card. So in this instance, this equals $1,499. So now I'll get into we'll get into a little better detail, but just look at that. So just adding that 184 is still going to take you 3 years just for this one card. Just adding that 184 to that one card. But when you do the velocity banking method, and this is obviously by person, it doesn't always work out this way. The closer these are, the faster you'll pay off your debt. That's not necessarily something you pick. That's just where your situation currently is, of course. Based on your credit cards, your debts, your payments, et cetera, et cetera. But that's a good available income, $1,499. It's the difference between the total income to the chargeable expenses. So the total income minus these non-chargeables, $1,499. We got chargeable expenses of $1,315. Guess what? That's $184. But when you velocity bank it, you save more on interest and you pay it down that faster, because now the money you're saving on interest is going towards your principal every month. You're changing how your monthly payment is split up between interest and principal. You're changing it and increasing it. Just adding the 184 doesn't maximize your interest savings. So let's get right into it. You can see the 2 credit cards, 18%. This is also a very good example. If you say you had a sudden income change, or you have a planned income change, say a baby on the way, so one of the spouses might stop working to take care of the baby, you'll save interest, but this is a good example of how using 0% balance transfers will save you a ton of interest. So just this snapshot you see right here, like an Amex 0% till this Christmas, then it goes to 29 not 7. I think that was 29 point. Actually, where did I put the sheet? I got it right here. Yeah, 29.74. Sorry about that. I scribbled my percent over my 4. Made it all look. So that one resets to 29.74. The Citi card, $49 a month, 0%. 2 different balance transfers. A $2,719 that expires on October 25th. $2,266 expires July 26th next year. They both will reset to 29.49%. There's a nice 𝐓𝐸 $22 payment. Nice low 13.99%. This is a store credit card, $117, $3,685. It's 0% till $228, but that $117 till $228 will have this balance paid off. So this person won't see that 29.99% interest reset. Lowe's card, $30 a month, $1,646, 0% forever. It was a special offer, so it's just the standard payment until it's paid off and no interest. And then there's also a car and also a mortgage. We didn't get into that with this student because it was in the workshop. I will help create the plan for all this, for your credit cards. Then I'll explain to them how to choose when and how much, or better, the timing of how to pick which loan to put that money on that you have available. When you get to the point where all these credit cards are gone, you got a nice positive cash flow, and you can do, you say you get a convenience check or something to chunk down those loans. That's just a $104 a month payment. It doesn't factor in, so I didn't write any other, well, the payment going away when it's paid off factors in, but none of the other information is going to factor in this example. So let's get right into it. How do I pick? Obviously, the 0%'s reset. They come and go. But why wouldn't I pick that 13.99%, that 𝐹𝐸 card? Well, it's only got a $624 balance, but it only has an $800 limit. Obviously not nearly enough for chargeable expenses, monthly chargeable expenses, as well as transferring other debts onto it, other credit card debts paid off. So that's out. These are going to reset to more than 29%. And here you got 2 nice at 18%. This one's got a $12,900 limit. But this one's, the 12,000's got a $26,000 limit. So it was an easy choice. And then I don't just make the choice, I'll double check. I'll plug a couple things into these and see, well, yeah, there's that 0%, for like a debt destroyer, but when it resets, you're just going to start getting hammered. And then everything has to be redone. Every single bill you've been paying, all that. I have to look at not just I always look at saving earnings. That's the whole point of this, is to save earnings. But I also look at not the person. I don't know individual students. I just kind of understand human behavior because I've gotten into this situation myself before more than once. So I got to maximize your savings and make it as easy as possible for you guys. So we picked the NFCU one at 18%. It's got that nice $26,000 limit. That was the debt destroyer here. So this person, the NFCU one credit card, is the debt destroyer. Right? And then right off the bat, this applies to anybody. If you've got, now you could say, well, here's 18%. Here's the 𝐹𝐸, it's 13.99%. But as you know, when you Velocity Bank, you don't pay that 18%. You have a much different actual interest rate doing the Velocity Banking, putting your available income on it, then just your chargeable expenses as they go. You're never going to pay anywhere near this. So we know we can beat the 13.99. And this goes for anyone. If you've got balance transfer offers, things like that, it makes no sense if you've got a card. Let's just use this one. Sure, it's got $12,448 balance with a $26,000 limit, but it's 18% interest. You've got plenty of room on that card. If they're giving you a convenience check or balance transfer options, these are going to reset to 29. But let's say they're already 29. Say they didn't have a 0% for the Amex at 29. You absolutely move that money over if you can't get a 0% offer onto that MCU, because why pay an extra 11% in interest per month on that balance? It goes for any of your debts, any of your credit card debts. If you have the capability to transfer to a lower interest card, do it immediately. Consider that the bare minimum. Even if you didn't get full into velocity banking, if your only takeaway from this video is, call it financial sense, it's not common sense, but financial sense, if you can move that debt from a higher interest credit card to a lower interest credit card, move it. Move it every time. Move it right now. Move it tomorrow. Don't waste any time, because every day is costing you money and interest. So I took you through all the parameters, give you an idea of how I pick. And I usually know, it's not a guess, but I look at all the numbers and I get a feeling. I've done this for a while. I get a feeling which ones to pick, and sometimes I actually have to crunch the numbers. I'll go down a road. I'll go, well, I wonder, when's that 0% kick in? When do I think, they'll be able to pay this next card off? Well, I don't guess. I actually crunch it. I do the numbers. I go, okay, that 0 kicks in. What's the difference in savings? Blah, 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 blah. I go through everything to be sure I picked right. When I could take what's in here and communicate it to someone, then I'll build a program around it. I can't do that quite yet. There's a little too much feel involved and not enough I don't want to say analytics, but the analysis is still by hand. I don't have a simple formula. Once I distill it to a formula, absolutely we'll get it out to you guys. That is no problem. So let's look at what we did right off the bat. The NFC one credit card, the debt destroyer, 18% limit. Right off the bat, payoff, NFCU2, and FEFCU. Pay off both of those right off the bat. Let's step off for a second, get a marker. Here we go. Verify that's a new and good one. Not bad. Right, so right off the bat, we're going to pay those off. So this one's going to go away. Now, the other bonus, you don't just bring that money, well, you don't just, but it's a double-edged sword in your favor for cutting how much interest you're paying to that credit card company. By moving that balance to the lower interest card, you're saving on interest there, and that payment goes away, and you can add it to that payment. So whatever your debt destroyer payment is. And even if you don't do a debt destroyer, and you just consolidate, you're maximizing it. You're saving on interest. Adding that to making that single payment, it makes your life a little easier. But the big thing is saving on interest. So right off the bat, we're paying off 2. Boop. Paying off FEFCU. So you can see right there, that available income, which was $1,499, just went up $44 because those 2 payments went away. And I'm not going to keep summing it up. It's relevant, but not important for you guys to understand this example and how it can help you guys. Right, so right off the bat, pay off that. Now, just in 3 months, you're going to be able to pay off. Remember, the city card was made up of 2 different zero balance transfers, a 2,719 and a 2,266. So 3 months, going to pay off the city. Pay off the Citibank, the $2,719 one. And now that, from the example I did, I just kept, instead of doing 25 went to one, 24 went to the other one. It's easier, just no change in available income. We just keep it. So that balance just got moved onto the debt destroyer, onto the NFCU1. Right? So I'm not going to cross it out. Let's just say it's half gone, approximately, because we still got that $49 payment. So number 3, at 5 months, pay off the Amex. Oh my gosh, and I just remembered something. When I say Jen yells at me, she doesn't yell at me. She gives me that look. And it's not my mom look, because if it was my mom look, I'd be irrelevant. She gives me a different look that, ugh. Plus, I'd rather get the look from my mom now than get the look Jen gives me of disappointment, like, I told you to do this every single time. Anyway, so we're going to pay off that. The available income is going to increase that $137. So you can see, you guys anyone doing this, you'll start off, first it'll seem overwhelming. You start to implement it, it'll take 2 weeks, you'll start to go, okay, I'm getting a feel for it. Within 2 or 3 months, it'll be nothing to you. It'll be old hat. It'll be just like anything you've ever learned in your life that feels like you can't remember not ever knowing it. 2 to 3 months. It is consistent. Current students, former students, if we get a quick early follow, we call it an early follow-up, meaning they haven't like paid off yet, because we always get those calls like, I did it, like I paid it off. 2 to 3 months, they're like, thank you so much. We already see it working. It's already 2 to 3 months. All you gotta do is commit to it, stay on your budget, stick to your steps, stick to your velocity banking, and you'll see it start in 2 to 3 months. One, it'll come naturally to you because you've been doing it now. You got a routine going. You know, all your non-chargeable expenses, credit cards, rent, car loans are all the same time each month. So that consistency, right? It's easy to schedule, easy to plan when you build your budget. And with each thing you pay off or move, you're going to increase how much faster you're paying off the rest of your debts. Because we got 3 months here, we got 2 months, we already paid off the Amex. And now, I'm not showing you, but really, it's not like we paid a ton of debt down in that amount of time. You know, we didn't have a lot of time, 5 months. Yeah, we're making a dent, we're making a great dent in the interest. But we're not paying the principal down a ton. So because with the $12,448 balance, and the $26,000 limit, we got the room to do that. But wait, stay with it. And now for the part Jen wants. Paying these off traditionally. So once these 0%, based on what I see here, I can't predict how many 0% this person will get in the future, et cetera, et cetera. But just what we saw here, the 0%, them expiring, resetting to the interest. The traditional method, which we never, ever want you to do the traditional method. In fact, the only part of the traditional method we would ever push was absolutely, if you can bounce these between 0%, watch out on the lower balance ones, because you pay that transfer fee, and you want to look at, well, how long before I estimate I could pay this card, or how much would the interest be in these 18 months versus how much is my transfer fee? You're almost always coming out ahead. Almost always. I have to say almost because I haven't done every possible example. All my examples, you'll just keep coming out ahead. Meaning, I know this is a little tangent, but let's just say you got a $10,000 card, $10,000 balance. Right? Say you got 25% interest every month. Is the interest rate, right? I'll get the calculator out for this. So your monthly interest, the first month, $208.33. Yeah. All right. So we'll just go $208. All right. So the next month you're going to pay it down. It'll be something like $205. Because most of what you're paying is going to interest, not to principal. So what you got to look at is, say you got a high one. So you got 5% transfer fee. Well, that's $500. Well, gosh, that's so much, like $500 transfer fee. But if you need the cash flow and you want to pay your other debts down faster, or even this, if you just have the one to pay that debt down faster, because now you're not, costing you so much in interest, that $500 fee, transfer fee, the interest savings on that alone, look at what, 2.5 months, you just broke even. And whether it's a year, that means you got 10.5 months left. Sorry, 9.5 months left. If you got 18 months, you got 16.5 months left. 15.5 months, sorry. So that's all you got to check. Just make sure you're always coming out ahead. And there's no reason to stop doing it. I would, this is a bit of preaching, I would say don't if you're doing it just to keep spending more money, because you're not helping yourself, but you are saving on interest, and that's what we focus on. We don't focus on your habits or why you spend money or where your money goes. We don't care. We're only here to help you save interest. Keep money in your pocket instead of it going to the bank. So now, let's get back to the traditional, the snapshot we saw. I can't make any assumptions about future, but if everything just reset, just kept making payments, this person was looking at $16,682 in interest in about 4.5 years to pay off. And now you can see how just adding the 184 to that monthly payment, does it help? Sure, of course it helps. It's paying your debt down faster. That alone's, but it's still going to take you 3 years and $3,609 in interest. And that's what? A quarter. That's roughly 25% of your total interest. We're going to do better. Obviously, I know we're going to do better, and you're going to see by the end how much better we do. So 5 months in, step one, we took the NFCU1 credit card. It had a good interest rate, nice high balance to bring all those other debts over. We immediately paid off the NFCU2 credit card, Navy Federal. I'd say the letters faster. NFCU2. And then we paid off Citi, and FEFCU right off the bat. The Citi we paid off, it was dual balances earning 0%. We paid off one of them, the one that's going to expire first. And then now at 5 months, we pay off the Amex. You can see, taking these two, increased our available income because it lowered how many non-chargeable monthly expenses we had. $44 for the 22 and the $20 combined. Pay off Citi, that's that $137. It increased because that was a $137 payment. We're over here. Bam. And then we got pay off Amex. Sorry, that was the Amex. Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. The Citi, the $49, I said it earlier. I didn't split it up. So this person was paying $49 a month, even though we paid roughly half of the balance off. Just keep that $49 going, paying the other half, if you will, at 0%. So I got my back to you so much. I got a lot to read and a lot to write. So here, step 4, we're only a year in. But here at 11 months, I didn't write it down, but a car loan got paid off. And that's why I didn't write the loans down, because besides the mortgage, they got paid off just continuing the required monthly payment. But that one increased it to $274. That's how much that loan payment was. And at 12 months, paying off the other half of that Citi. And that's the Citi. This was the starting balance, $2,266. Just a way to designate the two. So now that $49 payment gets added to your available income. Remember, your available income, total income minus non-chargeable expenses, that's how much cash, that's how much cash you have available to pay off your cards. Now, step 5, just 5 months later, at 10 months later, 22 months. This is, now see, so we paid these off fast. Remember, $12,448 balance, but a big limit, $26,000 limit. So we brought cards over pretty quickly, and I timed them. This is right before this started earning interest again. This one was right before, this I think was actually 2 months before, but before this started costing interest again, because they're both 0% offers. And the Amex. The Amex is a 0% offer, and that one also got transferred over. Yeah. And the Amex was done in 5 months because it takes us right to Christmas, and December was the last month of 0%. So that 0%, you'll see the big savings at the end, but say, so we paid these two off, but look, like pay off Citi. Well, you made payments on it for 3 months from, when we were contacted help. Yeah, but it cost you 0 interest in that time because it was on 0%. The Amex in 5 months cost 0 interest because they had on 0%. Car loan was already, doesn't matter. It was so close to being paid 11 months. It was very low interest at the end. That's one of the reasons it wasn't included in paying anything off. The Citi as well, pay off right before it started doing interest again, 0 again. So at 22 months, the LR loan got paid off by continuing the required monthly payment. It's not a minimum, it's a loan payment. But that increases $104. So every time you put a plus here, know that the next amount you're paying off is paying it off faster, 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 faster with each, as you would expect. Now, if you just continue making payments and you paid it off, it increased your cash flow. But if you just kept making the same payments, you wouldn't pay them off any faster, which is part of the way. This is an absolute worst case scenario. Most people, if they started gaining momentum, would start throwing a little extra on their cards. So this is just making those standard payments. I don't want to oversell or undersell anything to anybody. I want us all to be on the same page and understand how the savings are made, created by doing velocity banking, and what the savings actually are, what they really should mean to you. So we got all these. So now, go back. Now, that was at 22. So at 31 months, that store credit is paid off, right? And that was paid off, making that set $117 a month payment. Got it paid off before it reset to 29.99% interest, because it was that 0% for whatever the original was, 2 years, 3 years, it's irrelevant. We paid it off. She paid it off. This person paid it off before then. So that one's gone, so we add that again. 117. And now, just to pause, the available income at this point is 2501. And if these don't add up to it, it just means I spent so much time talking, I lost where I was on the sheet and I didn't bring a number over from one of these getting paid off. So the available income, look where we started. 22 months, increased to $1,002, just paying one thing off at a time, doing velocity banking, maximizing how much you're saving on interest, and bringing each balance over before, because when I'm talking, this has got a nice little added information for you guys of how much it helps those 0% balance transfers to avoid or delay, however you want to look at it, paying interest. So at 31 months, that got paid off. But you got to remember, we brought all this debt over. The debt's still got to be worked off. It's not gone. It all got moved to the debt destroyer. But with that nice big positive cash flow of $1,002 a month in 4 months, so at 35 months, debt destroyer balance is 0. It's paid off. So it's credit card debt free. If you remember, if this person just took their $184 positive cash flow and just added it to that card, I erased it for some unknown reason, just that card was still taking 35 months and cost $3,609 in interest. Doing velocity banking, not maximizing, I don't want to overuse that word, but taking advantage of 0% balance transfers, moving the balances around to keep them on that 0% to save on interest. There is no drum roll, but if you could imagine one. And now this person sees this video, they didn't know it's because the students, it takes at least twice as long for me to calculate the interest savings as it does to do the plan, like to develop the plan. So in the workshop, I don't give you the interest savings. You can usually calculate it on your own. It takes a little work, but it's not excessively difficult. But they still get all this plan. So just the one card, the extra $184 a month, that $12,448 balance at 18%, 35 months to pay that one off, $3,609 in interest. The cost of doing this velocity banking or pay down strategy, the total interest would be $5,392. You're looking at 2 years, 8 months to pay off. So this person is going to save $11,290 in a little over 2.5 years. That is amazing. And I can't teach, hey, now do a balance. Like, obviously, I'd be like, oh, hey, you're about to do this, do a 0%. None of us, the student can't, I can't plan around potential 0%. But of course, if you've got this one, you get a 0% offer on it for 18 months. Once I give them this plan, they can see like the timing of the cards, the balances on them as they approach, like when they're going to get paid off, where they're at now, where they'll be in, say, 10 months. then go, well, hey, I'm not getting to, let's go right off the example. You say, well, 12 months at Citi, well, that's 0%, that doesn't matter. Let's see, where do I got? Yeah. This person used it so effectively, the only interest they paid was in the debt destroyer. This $30, interest-free till it's paid off. This store credit, that $117, 30 payments left, paid that off before it started collecting interest. This was a 0%. This was a 0%. This was 0%. They're all temporary offers. And based on this person's situation, their income, their non-chargeable expenses, we're able to catch each one right before it started accruing interest, right before the 0% expired. That's not always the case, of course. Just imagine if this 4,833, we can't use this card, but say it's at 30%. Well, absolutely. You're doing this. Yeah, transfer it to a 0%. Heck, if they give you a temporary 0% to do a balance transfer on that, and they raise your limit, take this whole debt destroyer balance and transfer it there for 0%. And then what pay down actually cost, the interest is you're putting your income in and your expenses on your debt destroyer, that gets even lower. I had one, gosh, I'll look, I got a stack of students that help. I got to find it. But they had like 9 credit cards. And they were already doing it. They were doing it because they just didn't know where to go, like how to pay their debts off faster. And in the meantime, they're getting zero balance transfers offers, convenience checks, things like that. And it was like 9 credit cards. I think it was $74,000 in total debt. And it got paid off in under 4 years. And it was like $1,800. No, it was $897. That's right. I may be flipping the $79.97. It was like $897 in interest. How do you pay off $74,000 in debt doing velocity banking? Similar cash flow, different income level and expense level, similar available income every month. It's because he just kept moving the debts. Every time he had looked out, at a card, like, hey, well, I'm about to pay this card off anyway. There's no sense doing 0% on that. I'm 2 months away from paying it off. Well, I'm 12 months away from paying that 29% card off. That's got a $10,000 balance on it. They just put that stuff on a 0% and they kept doing it. And then when I got the final report, they paid less than $900 in interest. It was amazing. And you guys can all do it. Just be smart about it. Just think about, hey, what am I paying off? You get your plan, develop your plan, pick the order you're going to pay them off. If nothing else, I always say the same thing. If you don't know what to do, start with your highest payment. You get that paid off. Now look at actually going and look at how much of all your remaining cards, how much is interest, how much is principal. Once you get that positive cash flow, you're presuming it doesn't take a week, but say it takes a few months now, and like I said earlier, 2 to 3 months, people have consistently now reported back. That's when they're really comfortable. Like, wow, we're really doing this. We're seeing it. It's working. They're even surprised, but I don't think they're surprised that it works. I think they're surprised they're so successful at it so fast. Look at that, apply it, and work it down. And I know I throw non sequiturs in there. I'm sorry. It's just how my mind works. It jumps around. But using that 0% to your advantage, you can't avoid all interest, but you can, let's call it deferred interest. Because deferred, you keep avoiding the worst part of the interest for as long as you can, while hopefully paying down your debt. That debt, other debts, the combined debt, whatever it is. So remember, it's not your total debt that's hurting you. It's the sum of your monthly payments versus your income. In this case, non-chargeable expenses and the chargeables. So now, I feel like I did a terrible job during this class explaining the couple, I call it the nuts and bolts. It's not a secret. You can call it a caveat, like a little warning about velocity banking. It is not this complicated. When you write it all out and you plan and map it all up, I remember there's like 3 months in between. You got 3 months of just paying attention, available income, debt's coming out. But how do you budget that? How do you manage that? Don't look at all these numbers. You have to know them. One, you got to know them just to know velocity banking is going to work for you. But that's not really what you're interested in. Once you get it, You pick your highest payment, let's say. You set up all your payments, right? You got that credit card for your debt destroyer. You set up all your payments. All your bills are taken care of. Whether whether auto with your credit card where they automatically charge you or you go in, it doesn't matter. You got your routine. But managing your routine, it's never like this, I promise you. All you have to manage is your cash on hand, the cash in your checking account. So I'll write week 1, week 2, week 3. It doesn't matter because you're rolling, right? No, not everything stops and starts perfectly in every month. It rolls into the next month, right? So week 3, week 4. It doesn't, whether you get weekly or bi-weekly, it doesn't matter. You just stretch this out if it's bi-weekly. Week 1 and week 2 are just paycheck 1, paycheck 2. They're 2 weeks apart. You manage, all you have to worry about is managing your cash on hand. That's all you're going to hold back. You can call it this amount of cash for your non-chargeable expenses. Cash on hand is all you're managing. You get paid week 1. All you need to pay attention to is what bills do I need cash to pay before my next paycheck? That is what you keep in your account. I'm going to call it cash on hand. If Jen called it something different and I didn't catch it, I will get yelled at later. You guys, fortunately, well, you might laugh at it because she's like this big. And she's like, yeah, she doesn't really yell. Right? So that's your cash on hand. All you're doing is keeping track of how much cash you have to keep in your checking account to cover the bills till the next paycheck. Right? So if you got $1,000 paycheck, and you've got, a $500 non-chargeable expense, I mean, it requires cash, well, that's all you need to your next paycheck. You only need to keep $500 in your account, which means $500 you go on your credit card. And the same thing goes again. Boom, you got paid this. You got, say it's another $1,000. What non-chargeables do I have before my next paycheck? That's why I shouldn't have written week 1, week 2. And I said earlier, go just spread them out. It's just be paycheck 1, 2, 3. But you're always rotating, right? Month, week. It's by week, not by month. Bills are by month. Same thing. Do you have any non-chargeable expenses in here? Well, if you got a $1,000 one, that's easy. The 1,000 goes right there. You have no left over. And the same goes. And when you guys set up your budget and you figure, when your bills are due, this will jump right out at you guys. Well, let's say here you got something. Say it's a mortgage. Say it's $1,800. Right? You only got 1,000 here. You're getting that $1,000 paycheck. Well, now you know. Hey, that 1,000's going to be all the way there. Well, I can't pay that with one. So now here, you get that $1,000 paycheck. You got to keep $800 cash on hand for that week, which means you only have $200 to go to your credit card. And that's how you're going to do week to week, bi-weekly, even if it's monthly, because it's rolling. It's rolling month to month to month. That's all you guys do. Don't worry about you worry about all this. I worry about all this so I can give you guys a good plan, so I can show you guys how much you'll save doing it. Hopefully to get you amped up. Like, yeah, I want to save $11,000, over $5,000 a year, for this person. This is for the calculations. Living it, I promise you, is much easier. And you might have stops and starts. I shouldn't say stops and starts. There'll be speed bumps. But if you're careful, meaning always look forward, be very detailed in your budget, know what day of the month everything's due, and pay attention. That's it. Let's just say coincidentally every bill's less than your weekly paycheck, then you don't even have to plan 2 weeks out. You only plan 2 weeks out if you know you got a cash expense, a non-chargeable expense, requires cash to pay it. Then you got to come back to make sure you hold enough on hand. You don't have to manage all this. You don't have to go, oh my gosh, my chargeable expenses. Now, if you don't manage how much you're spending, this will all collapse. It won't collapse. Well, collapse is way too strong of a word. What you'll look at is, hey, my balance on that credit card's not dropping. It's going up. If you're doing this and you're consistent in this, the only way it's going up isn't because you're failing velocity banking, it's because you're spending too much. That's the only way. When I say, well, there's two things. Spending too much with your credit card, but say your electricity rates get skyrocketed. I think it was 10, 15 years ago, Michigan had the lowest electricity rates in the whole Midwest. We're the highest or second highest now. You can't plan for that. But it's easy to budget for because it's a all right, I actually pay both my gas and electric by credit card. Not every state and municipality, but power company has that ability. But for me, it's a chargeable expense. I don't have to worry about it. But let's say for you it's not. All you're going to do is tweak this. You're just going to go, well, here, it's not 500 that week because I use more electricity. It was a heat wave. I use more AC. Well, it's 520. Right? Set this all up. Get it going. Get a month or two in. Because once you're 2 months in, you've got that first starting month. That's a tough one to judge because you just started it. The second month, now you got a good number. You're like, okay, I'm doing this. I'm paying attention. You know, once I see what bills I got that I require cash before my next paycheck, I'm taking what the rest of the money, the available income, putting it on my credit card. Once you hit that third month, that's when you can compare. Look at your debt to store balance, say month 3, and now compare it to month 2. And you should see it going down again and again to month 4, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, because that's the whole point. And that's what velocity banking does for you guys. And if it's not, now on your own, and I love this, I like couch accounting. You should not have to you should not have to sit on a computer and grind like I do to get all these numbers. You should be able to just sit on a couch. After you organize, you identify your debt destroyer, and you implement it. You should be able to do all this sitting on a couch doing banking. Whether it's your laptop or your phone is irrelevant. So if you're like, hey, well, I'm flat. Well, I just got started. But if you see an uptick and you don't know, like, well, yeah, I bought that dress for a wedding. Oh, I took that vacation. You wonder, then you're going to have to actually compare, hey, what did I charge? How much did I charge this month? How much did I charge this month? Where is that money going? Like I said, if it's a chargeable expense where a bill just was up, that's just how it is. If it's, peak hours, non-peak hours, you spend more to heat your home than you do to cool your home in the summer, you're always going to have those variables. But be sure your discretionary things, you're not overspending on those, staying on your budget. But it's that easy. This is complex just for me to do an example for you guys to show you where the numbers come from, to try and get you guys confident in, all right, I believe in velocity banking. I've seen enough examples. I understand how it saves money. It's not magic or a mystery or a trick or a shell game. It's just very simple accounting. You don't have to stress about this. All you got to look at is manage your cash on hand, how much you keep in your checking account. Make sure you have enough to pay whichever things require cash before your next paycheck, or across, say, 2 paychecks if you got a big thing coming. And then you take whatever's left, put it on your credit card each time, each month, rolling, week to week, bi-weekly, monthly. It keeps going. I know I repeat myself 2 or 3 times. My goal is to try and come up with as many different ways I can explain this as possible without it becoming common core math. I want you guys to get bored. This should be the point where you end the video because you're like, I've heard Dan explain this 14 times. I got it. I'm just double checking if there's a little nuance, little other things I could learn and save myself a little more money. That is my purpose. That's why we made this channel. That's why we do all this stuff. It's to help you guys save money. It worked for us. We're still doing it. We literally just had a conversation. Hey, next year, our HELOC ends. It's 10 years. It's going to become a HE loan. And we just started discussing what we're going to do because we don't just preach this. We're living it. You guys are living it. We're living it right with you. We are just more years down the road than you. That's it. And you'll be right where we are before you know. Well, you'll be better off than we are. This person will be way better off than we are because I think they'll be paid off before we will be. That's a different story for another day. I'm Dan with Pay Down Debt Solutions. Always aligned, never alone. Thank you very much for watching today, everybody.